Clock. We want to get to some big news out of Minnesota. A lot to unpack there. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz announcing he is dropping his 2026 reelection bid. The governor making that announcement through a press conference, also sent out the statement this morning through his office. We want to get now live to Minneapolis. KARE 11's Danny Spiewak, KARE 11, our content partner. Danny, thank you for joining us this afternoon. As I mentioned before, some big news. Any indication of why he decided to drop his bid for re-election?
Yeah, Nick, thanks for having me. Really good to be on your show. So I'm at the Capitol and in our Capitol bureau, and we just heard from the governor within the last couple of hours. So he basically came out and read a statement in the Capitol in his reception room this morning. Didn't take any questions from the press, but basically said that he no longer feels that he's well positioned to be the candidate for the Democrats in the November election. As he had announced back in September, he was going to run for his third term on the heels of being the losing vice presidential candidate with Vice President Harris. But has decided over the last couple of months with the issue of fraud exploding nationally, he feels that in his mind, he accused the Republicans of exploiting the issue for political gain, called it a politicization of what is a very serious issue here in Minnesota. And he said he believes that a better DFL candidate, the Democratic Farmer Labor Party, as it's called here in Minnesota, the Democrats, that he believes that there's a better candidate that won't be a distraction to the campaign. He feels his party would have a better chance without him on the ticket. So again, it's hard to know what went into his decision, what kind of pressure he may have been getting from allies, but confirmed the rumors that had really started late last night.
I know it's early. I know we just learned this news that Governor Walz is not running for re-election, but I know there are names floating around. Realistically, what have you heard? What are some of those names that could step up and run?
Yeah, the big name is U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar. So she's, pretty well known nationally. She had made a presidential bid in 2020 in the primaries before President Biden kind of took the reins from that. But a lot of buzz that she is interested in this and that the governor could step aside, knowing that she would be interested because she's a really formidable candidate for the Democrats. She typically outperforms Democrats on the ballot. She has a lot of crossover voters that may have voted for both President Trump and her, which is really unheard of in these days. She's got statewide appeal. She'd be difficult for the Republicans to defeat. But if it's not her, there's Attorney General Keith Ellison maybe in the race. There's several others that have made bids before in the state legislatures. So it'll be really interesting. We'll have to kind of keep an eye on what happens with Amy Klobuchar, because she would definitely be the top candidate for the Democrats.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on that, especially we're now in 2026, and November election will be here before you know it. I want to get to this, and you mentioned this earlier about the fraud claims, something that has gained national attention. I know there at KARE 11, you guys have been doing a years-long investigation into this, but it really gained traction after the Nick Shirley videos, who is a conservative content creator. Where do things stand now?
This is a really interesting question because for those of us in Minnesota, fraud has been an issue, in a couple of campaign cycles now. There was a huge issue during COVID of, pandemic meal sites that there had been fraud, or huge U.S. attorney's investigation, DOJ investigation, trials and things that we've covered wall to wall. Our own investigative team has done stories about Medicaid fraud and has, in some ways triggered action from federal authorities. And so it has always been an issue in Minnesota and always has been a campaign issue on both sides. But you're right. Going back, about a month or two when President Trump began amplifying it with the Somali American community, and then with the Nick Shirley video, it's all very convoluted because we're talking about different programs. We're talking about, the Nick Shirley thing was based on daycare issues, but a lot of the other fraud has been related to Medicaid programs. It's so in the weeds. It's very difficult to parse out, what's being talked about online, what the motives are for people that are making certain claims. And it's hard because it is a very real issue, and it is a liability for the Walz administration. They've answered a lot of tough questions about it over the years, but it has become much more political, especially with him having been on the vice presidential ticket. I think that magnified the attention on the issue. And so that's kind of where we stand now. The state has taken a lot of action to try to crack down on fraud. The legislature, which is a divided legislature in this past session with Republicans controlling part of the state house, they've done a lot of different measures in terms of anti-fraud crackdowns, and the governor has appointed kind of like a fraud czar to oversee the response. And so there's been a lot of action, even from the Democratic side. Of course, the Republicans would say that this really happened under the governor's watch, that not enough has been done. But it was very much a state issue until it became federalized with the president's comments, and then now it just is so wrapped up into a lot of other stuff. I think it was hard to avoid.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Danny, it's so much going on, and you get into the weeds of all of it. Before I let you go, what impact do these claims and the investigations into fraud, what impact does that potentially have on the 2026 election? Again, that's, as you mentioned, a liability to the Walz campaign administration, but what impact does it have possibly on this election coming up in 2026?
It's a really interesting question, because you see all the Republican candidates who are running for governor in Minnesota. The House Speaker is a Republican, and she's running for governor here. They are all kind of making the argument that, well, Walz might be out of the race, but fraud is still the Democrats' problem. So I think they're going to continue to try to tie it to the Democratic Party. That's harder to do if Senator Klobuchar is the nominee, because she's been in Washington for 20 years, and so hasn't been at the state capitol. So you can't really pin that, the state stuff on her. So that would make it difficult if she was the nominee. But it'll definitely play into it. I think Walz maybe sensed that it was just going to be too hard to overcome, and it was just too much of an uphill battle with what he believes is really a targeted political attack, from conservative influencers and working with the president, that he felt like maybe another candidate wouldn't have that same target.
Danny Spiewak, KARE 11's own. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Again, a lot to unpack there in Minnesota. We'll have to check in with you another time. Thank you again, man.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nick, for having me.
All right, so we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.